the wealth of my nation is not from the oil or from the buildings that reach the sky or how much land we have. It is from my people. This was a quote by the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan al-Nahyan. He was one of the most inspirational people that this country has ever seen, and in fact the world. But he inspired someone that is so dear to me, and that was my late grandfather, Ahmed Sultan al-Olama. And he used to always tell me, Omaira, you have to be a voice and not an echo. So I hope today you will enjoy with me as I take you through my journey, where I learned how to be a voice and not an echo. I spent a large part of my life in the United States, but my heart and my soul was Emirati, and it still is till today. I had so much respect for my culture and my people that I couldn't wait to come back and start working in this amazing nation. I graduated with a master's in criminology, and I returned with enthusiasm and curiosity. But I never realized how different I was until I actually started working in the UAE. I worked in a government agency in the early 2000s, and we were discussing various chemical compositions of substances. And one of my colleagues, whether unaware or he just didn't know the answer, had written the wrong chemical composition on the screen. So I looked at him and I raised my hand really quietly and I said, "Sir, you've put the wrong chemical composition. Could you please change it? Or if you want, I'll get up and I'll change it." His response to me and my other female colleague shocked us. He told me that women only speak when they're spoken to. So if anybody knows my behavior, my mannerisms, I was like, what did you just say to me? But I also understood what he meant because he came from a different ideology. He told me, Omaira, you're going to burn more bridges than you create with this Western mentality of yours and your academic superiority. And I felt hurt and embarrassed because that's not what I wanted. I wasn't there to embarrass him. I was there to explain, and I was there to showcase my ability as a person. I understand now why a lot of people around the world leave the jobs they love or things that they're good at. As a criminologist, there wasn't a lot of Emirati criminologists in the early 2000s. But I couldn't stay in this job. I still felt I had a lot to learn, and I still felt I could add value. So I joined another company. It was called Dubai Development and Investment Authority. Today it's called Dubai Holding. It was located in Emirates Towers on the 31st floor. Now, Emirates Towers is home to a lot of government agencies. It's also home to a lot of foreign companies. It was a great bustling area in the early 2000s. It still is till today, but in the early 2000s, that's when that place was happening. And I was on the 31st floor. I had a boss who I respect immensely till today. But he used to tell me every single morning, Omaira, the only reason you are here is because you're Emirati. I know, but I used to, I was young. So when he used to tell me that, I used to take it to heart. Today I have more confidence, but at that time I was really upset. And I thought, this is mean. So one day I started crying, and I was sitting at my desk and I started crying. Now before I finish my story, there's a twist to it. As I was crying, a voice asked me in Arabic, "Why are you crying, my child?" Emirates Towers was home to a lot of government entities and a lot of foreign corporations. It was also the home and office of Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. So when I looked up, my first reaction was of shock and embarrassment. As you ladies in the audience will know, what happens when you cry and you wear mascara? my whole face was covered in black. And I thought, this is the first time I'm meeting the ruler of my nation. And this is the look that he's going to look at? So I worked up the courage after wanting to jump off the 31st floor. And I told him my story. His answer to me is something that stayed with me and has stayed with me till today. When I told him that every day they tell me I'm Emirati and that's the only reason I have my job, he told me, well, it's true. You are here today because you're Emirati. Where else in the world can a person get a job because of their nationality? They have to go through so many processes. But remember this, you are here today because of you. Not your passport, not who brought you here, because of you. Tomorrow, your expertise and how hard you work and how hard you'd stay dedicated. One day you will run a department and you will do that because you deserve it. That really stood with me. In 2010, I was sitting with a bunch of my nationals and we were getting training from it was a very prestigious foreign company. But I noticed that my nationals were not engaging. And I wasn't sure why. So I asked one of them and I said, why are you not engaging with the trainer? And they said, well, Omaira, we don't feel a connection to this trainer. We don't feel comfortable listening to him, or he doesn't understand the Emirati culture. And one of them joked, it might have been better if you stood up there, Omaira, and you gave the training. That made me think. And I said, I have to do more for my nation, as I remembered Sheikh Muhammad's words. And I said, if I'm going to add value, if I'm going to bridge the gap between different cultures, between men and women, between young and old, I have to come up with a solution. I have to bridge that gap where we don't judge each other and we work together to build this nation. So I set up a company called ALF Administration where we train and develop UAE nationals. But what set us apart was a funny story when I went to actually apply for my license. And I went to Sheikh Muhammad's establishment for young business leaders. And I knocked on the door and I said, I have an idea and I want to open a training company. And the relationship manager told me, well, I don't know if this is such an exciting idea. So, when you buy a toy and you think like, okay, this toy's broken, can I return it? So I went up to the receptionist and I was like, can I return my relationship manager? I want someone else. And they were like, no, you're stuck with this one. So I said, okay. So I was feeling very upset and I went to my father and I said, I don't understand what's wrong with this person. I want to open a training company. So my father, who's the voice of reason, was like, well, Omaira, what will set your training company apart from all the other training companies we have in the UAE? And I said, you have a point. So today, we've decided we will only train UAE nationals. We will only work with companies that develop UAE nationals because we want them to work together with other cultures. We want other cultures to understand what is Emirati culture, and we want Emiratis to understand what is other cultures, so that each together can add value. And they cannot just be considered Emiratization quotas. But we have another angle. I got divorced. I'm a single mother. I was a single mother of twins and a younger girl, so 3 girls. And I was sitting with my grandmother and my mom and my aunt. We're like the golden girls of the UAE, So we were sitting together. And my mom said, Omaira, your story is not finished. You have a voice. You need to do something else. You need to help, you need to inspire women of the UAE as well. So we opened up a part of our company, a branch, a humanitarian angle, where we help divorced and widowed women from all over the UAE. We empower them to get jobs. We teach them. We get them training skills. We allow them to go to the workforce. We give them computers and printers if they want to stay at home and do freelance. We make sure that they are not victims, because we're not victims. We are all working towards one goal, and that is to be part of this amazing, amazing country that we live in. I am so honored and so thankful to be in front of all of you today. And I see such an amazing mix of nationalities, and I'm so proud that you have called Dubai your home. Today, I might be a leader that is asking a lot of questions, but I'm training the next generation to find all the answers. My name is Omaira Farooq Olama, and Allah yarhamak, ya Yadi Ahmed. Because of you, today I'm a voice and I'm not an echo. And I hope that I make you proud, and I hope I made all of you proud today. Thank you very much.